Good morning, Power Hitters. Today is September 7th, 2021, day after Labor Day. My name is Jarrett McAllister, your mentor and co-host, alongside my main man, Jonathan Brunasso. How are you doing, my brother?
We are doing great. Happy Tuesday. Hope everyone had a great Labor Day weekend. I'm excited for today.
Yeah, how was your Labor Day weekend?
It was great. Turned off the brain, enjoyed and relaxed and barbecued, and now it's time to crush September.
Yes. And real quick, want to give a shout out. I actually spent 36 hours dipping into Northern California to attend one of our mentors, Zach Haynes, his wedding. So shout out to Zach and Don Haynes. Had an incredible event up there in Granite Bay near Sacramento. It was awesome. But yeah, before we started recording, talking about all that drinking, boy, was that a lot going on. So
yeah.
But we are back to the grind. So let's jump into the success stories. We're just going to share a couple because we got a jam-packed training today. So does anybody want to share one? Got a quick one? If not, I can share one really quick.
Go ahead and do one first, and then we'll see. Anyone?
Okay. So yeah, I want to give another shout out to one of our mentees and a really good lifelong friend of mine, Christopher Santiago. He closed his first Powur deal last week, or I closed it with him. I've helped him mentor on it, and super proud of him. He's been wanting to get into this industry and make the transition into renewable energy. And yeah, he generated the lead. We got on board. We ended up we presented it. She liked everything that she saw. Her brother and sister down in LA we're in the process of getting solar already. And so she just wanted to compare our quote with theirs. And they were going with Solar 360, I believe is the company. Are you familiar with them, Jonathan?
No, not really.
Anyways, they had some pretty competitive quotes. They were using Hanwha and Enphase, all the good stuff. But we had just released the Jinko 375s back. Those just came back in. So I was able to use those, increase production, shave off a little bit of cost. She was stoked. We closed it, cash deal. And yeah, so just shout out to Chris Santiago getting his first deal.
Boom. Nice job, Chris. First of many. I think Mike Patterson had one to share, a Florida mentor in here, just destroying it right now. Mike, did you want to share?
Hurricane Mike.
Mine's actually thanks to you, Jonathan. Met with Dave Norling, who you sent my way, and he's general manager for a big roofing company here. So we're getting him onboarded right now as a roofer, but he's also in who knows how many people's houses every day, and showed him how we can build roofs with solar and our better financing options and how we can combine the two. So he should be feeding quite a few deals our way.
Wow.
Excellent.
Super cool. Love it. Yeah. Partnering with roofers and realtors and getting them on board and becoming a mentor here, if that's your goal. I mean, that's where it's at, guys. So, all right, Jarrett. Well, I appreciate it, my friend. Our Jarrett, Idaho, NorCal mentor extraordinaire. Feel better. All right, brother. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Okay, so we have a nice training today on the importance of roofing. You know, Powur is really expanding into roofing, especially in California. There's a little bit of a pilot program going on here, and there's margin involved and commission involved. And a lot of our projects, more than you might think, actually have roofs and need roofs. So roofing is becoming its own behemoth and beast inside of Powur. And someone that I just talked to today for the first time, and she is joining us, has always been a badass. She's responded fast. She's impressed everybody. She gets us quotes on time. She's an amazing asset to Powur. So I'm super appreciative to have Christina Johnson here with the roofing department. Christina, you there?
Yes, sir. Hello, hello.
Howdy, howdy. Well, welcome aboard. Welcome to the team. Feel free to introduce yourself and share the screen.
Absolutely. I will try not to absorb all the time here. No so for those that haven't met me yet, my name is Christina. I actually come from roofing. So I've had the pleasure of joining, this is not my first time joining a solar company to help them build out a roofing department or a subcontractor department. Been with Powur since March. have been making some pretty big changes and getting some standardized procedures in place for all markets. So we kind of have two different systems going on right now, one in the solo markets, one in the non-solo markets, but regardless of whichever market you're in, we do have a process in place that we want to get together. And of course, this just allows us to expand our offerings to homeowners, give them more opportunities to wrap in those home efficiency, you know, get a Title 24 compliant cool roof along with their solar in there, roll it all in, increase their potential tax incentive and all that fun stuff. So that's pretty much, that's me. That's what I'm here and what I'm doing and what I've been doing for a little bit. I understand it's definitely a transition, so there may be some hiccups and things to discover along the way, but my mantra is when in doubt, please reach out. Feel free to send me a text, send me an email. I'm usually pretty booked up, so if you just call me, I probably won't answer. I'm either in a meeting or handling something else, but feel free to shoot me an email or a text and we can definitely schedule a call if need be, or I will hop on and assist however I can. So I will get started with my little deck here that is not fancy, especially after looking at Jonathan. So don't judge me too harshly.
Not at all.
Share screen. Let me find the right screen. Yeah. Okay. Can you guys see slide?
Yep, looks great.
All right. Oh, nope, not share. Whoops. I meant present.
That looks pretty fancy to me.
I'm on 1 cup of coffee so far, so bear with me. I'm like 2 behind. Okay, so just a little quick run through. Sorry about some of the font and formatting. I did send the roof process version 3.6 as well as the sales specific FAQs to Jonathan, asking that he forwards it and shares it with all of you. This deck I'm going to share with Jonathan as well, so you guys have it as a resource, but the FAQ sheet is really far more comprehensive than this little deck here. Most of your questions are answered in there. And if there's anything that pops up that is not covered in the FAQ sheet, feel free to hit me up. And I'm always happy to add things and revise that as we go along because we want to get everyone on the same page. So just an overview, the solo roof product, that is the beta product that we currently have in California. It will be rolling out in Texas soon. Current ETA is about 2 weeks. We're waiting on some confirmations from the solo development team. The Florida launch is projected in about 3 to 4 weeks. I know I'm probably skipping to the bottom there, but it's important just because I want everyone to be aware that the changes that we just saw in California will be coming to those next 2 markets that are huge in terms of roof work. I was just telling Jonathan, at 30 to 40% of our projects have some form of roof work on them. So it's not just one here or there, it's a good chunk. So from within the solo proposal, the solar proposal, that little hamburger menu on the upper right-hand corner is where you go to request the roof proposal. And my window is blocking the corner there. So okay, yeah, you can see it. That little red highlighted box is where you click. There are occasionally hiccups with that. You might click it and it doesn't actually submit. If you are not sure that the request went through, feel free to either shoot me an email or revert to the re-roof request form. When I see a request on there, I have access to the back sheet. That's my form. So if I see a California request submitted on that sheet, I know that there was a hiccup on solo. I go on the back end and force generation of that proposal. The initial roof proposal is a rough estimate, so please do not use that. How we're moving this process currently is you will receive a notification from Solo that says your roof proposal is ready, but that is a rough estimate. It hasn't been QC'd yet. I'm working with Solo to have them remove that just to alleviate confusion, but you will receive the scrubbed proposal from the roofing@powur.com email. And so when you receive it from me, I send a nice little spiel that says what's included, how much your margin is, all that fun stuff. So when you receive that from me, that's how you know it's been checked. And if there are any things that need to be changed, feel free to just reply on that thread. Hey, did you catch that second layer? Hey, homeowner wants to know about insulation. whatever the case may be, just let me know and we'll work it out, get everything added or removed so that everything is accurately reflected. Currently, we're saying please allow 1 to 2 business days for those solar roof proposals to come back. I'm pretty quick. I tend to get it the same day unless you ask me at the very end of the day or like Friday just before the weekend when the office is closed. If there is a specialty request on the work, I may let you know, hey, I'm going to check with the roofer before I give you a price. And if that's the case, I will shoot you that link after we've confirmed with our partner. Jonathan, should I pause for questions or should I roll through and we'll do questions at the end?
Just to clarify, so if in Solo, we can hit request roofing proposal, and sometimes that doesn't work. And if that doesn't work, then we use the re-roof form that I put into the chat, right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. You've got it.
Okay, perfect. And when we enter a lead in powur.com, under site info, it says work needed, solar and roof or just solar. Does that also trigger Solo to make a roofing quote to your knowledge?
It won't trigger it to make a roofing quote, but it does help on the op side to know that there's roof work, especially if a bid hasn't been uploaded to assets yet. So if you're aware already of roof work, I would encourage you to go ahead and click that button that says inclusive of roof work, just so on our end and on the ops end, it's less likely to be missed. I mean, we do have those additional checkpoints between compliance and pre-sales and everything. So as this process continues to roll forward, we should see less things slipping through the cracks. But just as an extra precaution, check that button. If we don't see a bid, we know that we need to look for one because obviously there's roof work.
Okay.
Hey,
Awesome.
Christina, this is Jarrett, and I've done a couple of these, and to piggyback on what Jonathan was asking, when you click the request roofing proposal, sometimes it takes me like directly into Solo, like to log into Solo back office. Is it
Right.
supposed to do that? And how do we know if it has been generated? Like,
so it's not supposed to take you back that way. And if you see that, again, I would encourage you to either send me an email or revert to that Google form for the re-roof request. And again, when I see that it's California, I know that that means Solo had a hiccup. And that also provides information that I can relay back to Solo to show them how often this is happening, because we need this to be scalable. This is going to be rolling out in all markets and we need things to be going through. So they are looking into that. They are plenty annoyed with me and how often I'm bothering them about this because I
That's
do have
okay.
to go through and manually check and confirm. So again, if you're ever in doubt, if you try to request it and you're just not sure, feel free to send me an email and say, hey, I requested this, just want to make sure that it go through. And I can hop in the back and say yes or no. And if it didn't, I'll force generation on the back end, but it should not be taking me to the main Solo page. And if you're having any issues with that, again, just feel free to reach out to me, send that request or send me an email and I'll go ahead and get it requested. You should receive, although we don't want you actually using it, the proposal is ready notification from Solo when that initial proposal has been generated. So you should get one of those from Solo directly if the request went through. So that would kind of be a signifier for you.
What should we see when we hit that button? Like, I mean, what should be the next prompt that we say, we go, oh, that looks like it went through correctly.
Right. There's a little box that pops up that just verifies the information. There's also a text box where you can put any notes regarding the scope request and you click submit and it should go through. If you click submit and nothing happens on that box, it just stays there, then it's a pretty good chance that it didn't go through. There was some kind of glitch. And in that case, you would want to go ahead and reach out to me or submit a form inquiry.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. All right. Whoop. Did I make sure I'm not trying to cut anyone off?
Nope. Let's keep
I will
going.
keep rolling. So these were just some examples of what the initial page looks like and what the breakdown looks like. We are upgrading what's in the system. So we've purposely kept it somewhat vague just because currently Powur does not own the vendor relationships. And these markets or these materials and offerings have to be offered across various markets. We can't do too much customization in that sense through the platform that we have. So we've left things kind of in tiers of, standard, upgraded, specialty. I'm actually working right now to expand those details for you guys so that it's just a little easier for you to present to the homeowners who are naturally going to ask, well, what's a standard shingle? Well, it's CertainTeed Landmark or Solaris. It's Owens Corning Oak Ridge or Duration Standard. It's the GAF Timberline. I believe it's the H or HDZ. And then the upgraded would be CertainTeed Solaris, Solaris Pro, Owens Corning Duration Cool Plus. So you don't have to memorize these things. I'm working to have them reflected in Solo. We should be seeing these changes hopefully over the next week so that those options do show up for the homeowner, as these are the options you'll be choosing from, the brands. Specific details, will depend upon that final selection, but at least you can see the tier, the brand and the tier that qualifies there, so they have something to go off of if they want to look up specifications or choose colors or anything like that.
Nice.
We're getting there. We're getting there. You should see the original price sheet I presented to the executives when I first started. I was like, okay, here's what we use at a roofing office when we're pricing a job. Here's the sheet and everything that goes into it. And yeah, that didn't go well. So we tried to simplify it just so to get something rolling. But as this continues, it will expand and get more granular so that we can really capture roof work. But we're taking steps. So to keep going, that initial estimate, I'll review it, I'll tweak it, I'll send you that finalized link. We can add a wood buffer to minimize change orders on wood replacement. It's kind of up to you guys how you want to handle that. I would just encourage you to accurately set the expectations with the homeowner when it comes to decking, especially, we can't tell until after tear off how bad that's going to be. So unless we know it's on skip sheeting and we have to lay new plywood on everything, chances are that'll either be a change order or they might want to add some buffer in advance, which we can do. I will send you that scrubbed bid from the roofing@powur.com email. You would present that link to the homeowner. If they accept it, then you enter that roof work amount, the cash price that's quoted on the proposal, as a roof work adder. So you would, just as before, go to the PV proposal, go to the adders, add that cash price that's on the solo roof proposal as the roof work adder. Go ahead and run that credit for the full project. And when you request the documents, you will receive an HIC and also a RACO form, which is the roof addendum change order form. That is the form you will see in solo markets. So right now it's only in California. Soon it will be in Texas, and after that in Florida as well. That's the form that the homeowner signs off on for the roof work. And
can I
yes.
ask a question?
Sure.
Hey, so if we're so like you said, we go out, we start the work, we have to take off the roof, and then we see like there's like 10 pieces of board that need to be replaced, and it's going to be like $2,000. At that point, do we do have the option to increase the loan amount and everything?
Yeah. So we can submit a proper change order and include that in the loan amount. We do ask the contractors to take photos and supply something in writing that specifies exactly what's being changed out for how much, so we have an exact price. We'll relay that to you for discussion with the homeowner on whether they would like to process a change order or pay for that out of pocket. We don't want to make a habit of eating these costs out of the margin. I know that's kind of like default, but in roof work, and any of you that have done several projects with roof work, you know how easily that sort of thing can add up, especially things like wood replacement. And the item to keep in mind is if the homeowners would have contracted with that roofer directly, the roofer wouldn't be eating any of that. They would have to pay for it. Best case scenario is the roofer might say, hey, I'll do it for you at cost if it's a problem. But so just throwing that out there, because we had a fun one last week where a homeowner kind of held a project hostage for $7,000 worth of woodwork that was not required by the city. She just wanted it. And there was a whole kerfuffle because they wanted it to come out of margin. And, you know, I'm responsible for the roof program, so I don't like to see that.
Just to add,
So go ahead.
Add to real quick, of course, Paul, as long as you're under the loan limits, right, then you can
Correct.
go ahead and add that in. And of course, there's a dealer fee on those things as well.
Yes, sir. You've got it. One thing I'm going to mention, I just got an answer on this morning, so I didn't get to update the FAQ, but one of the things that has been reported back that we're seeing is the change in price on the RACO form when it comes back some consultants are seeing a significant increase. And initially we were told from Solo that that's just inclusive of the finance fees and we're seeing a cash price versus finance price. But I drilled into them a little deeper on this to see if we can get that to not show up that way, because that's a sticker shock when the homeowner is told the roof is 15,000 and then it shows up on the RACO form for 33. We had last week a very significant change. And it turns out that what's been happening is Solo is actually adding all of the adders from the PV side, and it flows on the back end and goes to that RACO form. So the final price will show all adders, not just the roof work, and that's what's been throwing it off. So as a note, if you see that, if you do make this request, you request docs, you get a RACO form, and that roof price does not match what was on the proposal, you can go ahead and edit that box and put the correct cash price in there. It won't ruin anything. It's just a flow issue on the Solo side. I've been arguing with them on the best way to resolve this. There isn't really a way for them to differentiate which adder to have flow over. So it's a choice of either editing what's in there or having the box pop up empty. We're figuring out which is worse, but either way, just go ahead, feel free to edit that box, put in the actual cash price. You do not have to roll with the inflated all adder price you'll see on that RACO form. So that one was giving me nightmares over the weekend. I'm super glad to have an update on that, because we've got a few deals that were in holding due to that lovely price difference. Yes, Raphael?
Okay, what's the process of, we've submitted a roof quote with our proposal. Homeowner goes and gets another bid, it's slightly lower. What can we do there and use their roofing company?
Well, in a Solo market, we can't set up a roofer for one-time use anymore. So we're not doing homeowner rebates for roof work, and we're not setting up single-use roofers. It just takes up way too much legwork, and it's messy when it comes to payment and protocol and all of that. They almost never adhere to it, and it just leaves a bad taste in everyone's mouths. So if the homeowner has a comparison quote, which is going to happen, there are a few things to look at. The first would just be, we definitely need to see a copy of the quote. I get so often, homeowner has a bid for less, can you match it? And without seeing it, I can't match it. I don't know what was bid. I don't know the scope of work. I don't know the brands they're using. So there are things in the details that could make a difference. If they quoted for a lower quality shingle, if they quoted for felt instead of synthetic interlayment, there are just different things that could change the pricing. So we do need to see those details. There is margin figured in our bids that go through the Solo roof product. It's pretty high. It's currently set at $100 a square, which is actually twice the industry average for trained roof sales consultants. So it's pretty generous, and we can wiggle that. If you let me know whatever you're willing to take down. And when I do send you guys those links, you'll see towards the bottom, this roof is 30 squares. There's $3,000 worth of margin in it. I can lower or remove this if you want, just let me know. So whatever your margin is, we can play on that. It might be worth it to not make anything on the roof if it means getting the solar deal. Like I said, I'm not in sales, but I know I would go for that. And then the next thing would just be that additional value. There are, of course, some extra value to going with one of our partners. They are vetted. They do have to meet certain requirements. They have to have active licenses, active insurance coverages with, certain limits. They do have to sign our master subcontractor agreement, which means they have to offer our clients a 10-year workmanship warranty. That is not required by the state. A lot of these other roofers offer a 2, 3, or 5-year. Again, there's that brand difference. There could be a difference there. And then of course, there's the added benefit of if they go with one of our roofers, we can then roll in that roof work into the total loan, get a combo loan, and essentially increase their potential tax incentive. So if they've got a bid and it's $1,000 or $2,000 lower, but we can roll it in over here and they're going to get that money back by using that combo loan, well, then there's a little benefit there. You're not really paying more for the roof. You're getting that money back, and you're getting all the added protection of the additional workmanship. You're getting the benefit of everything being under the Powur name. And, we're just going to be able to take care of you if it's all done in-house. So that would be the angle I take with it. And, unfortunately, if they're very hard set and they've got their roofer and that's who they want to use and that's it, They are always more than welcome to use a roofer of their choice outside of the Powur contract, and we can still do the solar, but we won't be able to roll it into the loan. So that is kind of a line that's a change from before. That makes sense?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's really good. Thank you for that. So it's very great opportunity.
Right. Yes, exactly. And I mean, if they're really pushing, I will do everything I can. The main thing to keep in mind is we are selling at Powur's price. So we're not selling at the roofer's price. Because I'll get requests for, hey, can you talk to the roofer? And this is our price. This is not the roofer's price. But sometimes if we're getting really, really tight, I can reach out to the roofer and see if there's anything else they can do on their end to give us a little more wiggle room to make it happen. I do make those requests. Can't guarantee it'll happen, but I'm never afraid to ask. So,
Christina, when you're saying we're selling at Powur's price, so the margin that you're talking about when you add it on, is Powur making their profit from that margin, or is
yes.
Powur making profit from Powur's price?
So Powur is more so set, it's the same 70-30 split. So the $100 a square is the margin that would be split 70-30 between the consultant and Powur. Now, Powur is selling at a cap price. So depending on where the roofer came in on their MSA, there may be a couple of dollars of additional side for Powur, but there may not be. It just depends on the roofer that was assigned. So worst case scenario, they're at cap and there's no extra padding anywhere that I can do anything with. Sometimes we have a roofer that's a little under cap, and if there's some extra in the back end that I can work out, I'll see what I can do.
Well, my main concern is that, you know, a roof situation is normally a bad thing, and our goal is to help it get the solar project along, not where it's astronomically more expensive, where, you know, it kiboshes the deal. The goal is to make it work. So that's why I was asking.
Yes, and that was my concern as well. And again, like I said, we can always lower or remove the margin, especially if, you know, it's a tight deal and we're just trying to get it done. There's a small amount of work. You don't have a lot of money in the loan, or the homeowner's not trying to spend a lot of money. We want to keep it partial or minimal. We can definitely come up with creative solutions to make something happen. And like I said, I'm always happy to do what I can on my end. If I need to talk to the roofer, see if there's any more way we can, you know, kind of bring it down for the homeowner, I'm willing to ask for a favor. But yeah, absolutely. We definitely don't want it to be too high priced. And so it's still in the works. You know, it's a program, it's new, it's going to be revised. So I have a feeling that as time goes on, we'll get a little more volume. We'll be able to leverage that with our partners, bring all those costs down, and just be even more competitive as this continues to roll out. Did I address the question?
One more question, Christina, then we'll let you move on here. Someone asked, when we sell the roof, does the roofer do their own site survey? And I think that corresponds to the bullet point 1 here you have.
Right, somewhere floating around. So yes, so the roofer, okay, so on an awarded project, the roofer will perform a site survey at some point before we schedule the work, just to address the scope, make sure we captured everything, that sort of thing. Occasionally, if we get a roof request, and it looks a little tricky, or if it's scope of work that might be specialized, I might contact the roofer's office before I send you a link back and say, hey, can you take a look at this one for me? And if they determine that a site visit would be advantageous before providing their price or confirming the scope, then I will contact you right back, usually on that email thread, and say, hey, the roofer wants to go out and take a look at this. Can you check with the homeowner, see if Monday at 3 works? That sort of thing. Now, when it comes to site walk requests, because we get those as well, if the job has not been awarded, if it's a homeowner who's just asking and he just wants someone to check the roof, I can make that request. There is usually a truck roll fee for those assessments if the job has not actually been sold with roof work. Doesn't always apply depending on the roofer. Sometimes I can pull a favor and ask them to go look at this for us as a go-see. Just depends, but I wouldn't lean on that as a regular thing to ask every roofer on every job, even if it doesn't have a roof, to go look, because we will kind of burn through our relationships if we send them on 50 look-sees and they don't do any work. So just keep that in mind. But yes, they are supposed to do an assessment before the work starts. The only exception would be if they're doing us a favor and it's, 2 hours out of their usual market and they're taking care of it for us.
Awesome.
Help. I think I'm missing the chat box, but I'll just
Yeah.
let you read it out.
We'll get to it. Do you have more slides, Christina, or should we do the Q&A now?
I do, but I can, if we want to cut short on time, I
Let's
can just let you share this with everyone and we can do the Q&As because it's pretty much.
Let's keep going through the slides here and then we'll do Q&A.
Okay, so you've got this, Black Bass is blah, blah, blah. Okay, compliance. So some of you have already gotten contact from pre-sales. Just a heads up that they may contact a consultant if roof work is noted on a deal. They have been instructed to confirm that it was the roof work proposal has been provided by Solo, if it's in a Solo market. If it's not in a Solo market, then they need to confirm that the bid has been provided by an approved partner. If the partner isn't already approved, then they're going to want to confirm with me that we've set up that partner, at least for payment on that job. So you'll usually get a CC'd email. I'm usually on it too. I'll auto respond and say, hey, if you've got a bid, shoot it to me. If you need help, let me know. I get a lot of roof requests and pre-sales requests and compliance tags. So please forgive me if there's a job that I've helped you with and it's coming through compliance and it skips my brain for a second that we already discussed it. Just put on the thread, Christina already did this. And I'll go, yeah, I did this. So that's totally fine. So they are mostly going to be looking for if there's a roof work amount entered, but they don't see a bid, then that might be a kickback where they'll contact you for that bid and more information. Or if they see that there's a bid, but they can't confirm that it's been provided by a vetted partner, at which point they'll reach out to you, say, hey, we need to get them set up, and they'll copy me on that email as well. And these just make it easier for us to make sure that the job is done appropriately and also make sure that the roofer is aware of our terms and that we're aware of the work, because I know prior to there being a program, it would kind of just happen and ops would get an invoice and no one would kind of know what happened from A to B. So this is helping us really track what's going on with the roofers and be able to pay them per the faster terms we're offering. Okay, so we're getting to the questions. The roofing and subcontractor process version 3.6 is actually a document that was sent to Jonathan, as well as the FAQ sheet that would go along with that. I had a few quick points for the most common questions. So if the roofer is sourced by, and this is for markets outside of California, if you're outside of California and the homeowner has a roofer that they would like to use, we can still do that. We need to complete the roofer intake form / roofer referral form. If the roofer is already approved and onboarded, then the roofer would go ahead and perform the site survey and send us a bid. So in non-solo markets, we are asking the roofer to check the measurements we send and send us back a bid that goes to the homeowner for approval. We're not adding margin, any of that fun stuff as of now for non-solo markets. So that's going to be the fun thing when this comes to Texas and Florida. That means margin in Texas and Florida. So I'm excited on behalf of you guys. I don't make any margin, but I'm excited for you. Then, so if the roofer is sourced by Powur, then the consultant would verify the eligible upgrades designated by the lender and submit that re-roof request form so that we can go ahead and get that formal bid. And the project manager will contact the roofing partner when it comes time for scheduling. You guys do not have to worry about that anymore. And it will actually get the roofer into some trouble with me if they start a roof per consultant or homeowner request instead of waiting for that work order from the project manager. They are all instructed to wait for that. That is key. We don't want the roof going on so early that we can't pay the roofer. It's the main point for that there. Some of the most important changes to keep in mind would be that we no longer have the homeowner rebates. Roof work must be completed with a Powur approved partner or handled outside of the Powur contract with the client directly. We do have we do have homeowner rebates for tree trimming, not roof work. For tree trimming, all we need is an estimate in advance and an invoice when it's done, and we will reimburse the homeowner for that cost. But roof work, no homeowner rebates. The ops team now coordinates all of the roof work. This is no longer your responsibility. the directors. I told you I'm only one coffee in, right? The roofers are instructed to wait for a work order and a purchase order number before scheduling the work. The terms for roof work are now 100% net 10 by direct deposit. So what this means is that the funds are released for deposit to their account by the 10th business day of the approval of their final invoice. Those come to me so long as they submitted their invoice appropriately with a PO number. That's how we know that ops scheduled it, because they'll have that PO number. I pretty much approve them right away so long as the job is in the right phase and they did everything according to protocol, where it goes for processing and goes out to their account within 10 business days. We've had a pretty simple process with that. One of the big things, I should probably highlight this when you're giving us referrals, is this is going to be major. The ability to follow the process is huge. We're trying to scale this up, and we're not going to have tons of hands on board set up to manually usher some of the smaller companies through the process. So if you would like, you know, your friend or your cousin or whomever with a small roofing office to get set up, just warn them in advance that we have a very set process that needs to be adhered to, and it's not for everyone. So we'll do our best to try to get them set up, but if it's something that their office isn't able to handle, unfortunately, we won't really be able to use them as a steady go-to contractor, because we do need them to be able to receive the PO, put it on the invoice, submit it via the specialized email, and follow that whole process that we have. Because unfortunately, I don't have enough hands yet to do all that manual scrubbing. And again, when in doubt, please reach out. It's obviously a complex process. Every job is customized. No two roofs are going to be the same. So we want to make sure we're setting accurate expectations with the homeowners. We want to avoid expensive misunderstandings. I don't know if anyone has had a hiccup on a roof job, but you know how costly it can get if you have. So if you're not sure about something, anything, feel free to reach out. I would rather be asked than to have to clean it up on the back end. I'm from the East Coast, so I get some of that warm and fuzzy Philly side when, when I've got to clean stuff up. Change orders, just quick run through. Of course, you guys are aware the cost of lumber is astronomical compared to pre-COVID. These costs are coming back down, but they're still higher than they were before. So just setting that expectation there. Wood replacement is, of course, the most common and expensive potential change order. We can include that little buffer, but it's important, again, that we're setting that expectation with the homeowners regarding the potential for a change order after tear off. And then again, the change orders must be covered by the homeowner, or if you want to feel generous, you can cover it if you'd like. But we have been instructed to avoid pulling roof work change orders out of the margin bucket. I have seen some exceptions go through with the executives, so it does happen. But overall, I've been instructed to be really firm on this. So if you get a hard no from me, I was told to do that. You might be able to get around it. I'm just doing my job. Alrighty, I'll let you guys open the FAQs. It was just this page and one other. It's really just questions I threw in. So I will let you guys start asking your questions. These are pretty much just some heads up things to look for where you may or may not need roof work. When does the roof go on? We're scheduling these to happen 1 to 2 weeks ahead of the PV install. So we don't want roof work going on 3 months ahead of the solar, or on a job that's in holding, or in a job that doesn't have the funds secured yet, or anything like that that could create an issue. So that's one of the top questions I get is, when is the roof starting? It's happening when we have the solar details put together, permit ETA, approved layout, all of that. So we can go boom, boom, get it installed, and it's done.
Let me go ahead and check the chat, Christina.
Yeah, go for it. I think that was pretty much it. And I'll share these ones with you. But these questions that are on these FAQ slides are also on the paper. So I'll let you guys have at it now.
Perfect. Thanks. Let's do a few questions here. Feel free to type in more questions, but we'll get through these first. If the homeowner has only one layer of roofing, can a second layer be added?
Oh, a comp overlay? We can do a comp overlay if they have just one layer on there. We cannot comp overlay if they already have 2 layers. So we can max install on 2 layers, 3 layers. We need a full tear off.
Yep. Perfect. And I know, Larry, you were asking about adders for financing. You know, it's the dealer fee that's already in Solo, the dealer fees that our loans already have. It's our loan limits that are already there. Good Leap's like 8.4, Sunlight's like 7.5. So you can go ahead and put these into the loans, assuming that they are under the price per watt limits. Cynthia Elvidrez loves you, Christina, just FYI.
Cynthia, hi, Cynthia. I keep forgetting that this team is basically half of Powur.
And it's all of California.
It's awesome.
All right, all right. My brother asked if the roofer is cheaper than the MSA base price, does that margin get added to the overall project, or does Powur hold the roof prices? I would assume they're holding.
That is a little bit of a Powur hold. So if the roofer does come in under our cap price, that is a little extra padding on the roofs, on the roof side, on the Powur side.
Yeah.
So on the consultant side, the commission split is just that base $100 a square that we can adjust.
And I'm more than fine with that.
Just to reassure you, we don't have folks coming in majorly under cap. If we could get everyone at least like $50 to $100 under cap, then we would bring the price down altogether by that $50 or whatever and lower all the caps across the board. Right. So the extra little padding we have on our end with some of the roofers is maybe a couple dollars per square, but depending on the material type and how competitive they want it to be.
Right. And I know JC and some people on here asked, how do we onboard a roofer? So just use the roofer onboarding form that I put in the chat. That's also in the documents. And of course, they have to be licensed, bonded, insured, experienced, all the rest, right?
Absolutely. And they have to agree to our pay terms. In those markets where deposits are really common, that's usually the number one kind of thing that will throw someone off track. They'll get almost to the end and realize, yeah, you're not going to get a deposit, and that might be the deal breaker for them. So just as long as they're aware of all of that, please use that referral form. And if it's connected to a live project, there is space in that referral form to include the Solo link, the project name. Please fill that out, because I do check that sheet every time I get a notification. And if I see that it's attached to a live project, it gets prioritized for setup because we want that to go through. If I just see, hey, here's my neighbor, here's some guy I found on Angie's list, sign him up, that kind of falls to the back burner. I get a lot of those too. I found this guy on Google. Like, okay, yeah, I can find a guy on Google too. So, you know, those will fall to the back of the line, but if it's connected to a live project, those are prioritized. So definitely fill that in if it's connected to a job.
Awesome. And Chris Lewis asks, are we eventually going to work with insurance companies for projects that have storm damage? That way the customer can just pay deductible to get a new roof like other roof companies?
So what we're currently doing when it comes to insurance work is if the homeowner wants to use insurance and the roofer is willing to wait for, okay, so we've got a couple of creative solutions to do with that. Powur is not working directly with the insurance company. So we're not agreeing to that delayed payout terms, because insurance companies pay out net 30, net 60, net 90. It's raunchy. So we're not going to put ourselves on that end of it. So what we end up doing is, if the homeowner is going to do an insurance claim and they're working with a roofer who is familiar with insurance and is fine with waiting for those terms, and they have a cash deposit, we can roll that cash deposit into the loan for the roof work and pay that out for the roofer. And then the homeowner can either pay for the rest of the roof work and get reimbursed by insurance, or the roofer, if they agreed, can wait for the insurance to pay them directly. So we do have some creative solutions when insurance is involved. Just Powur is not going to be the ones partnering with insurance directly to wait for that delayed payment. We can get creative on ways to make it happen.
Perfect. I know I came up on this before, but Lily asked if there is a solar PV installer, they also do roofs. Can they do both? I'm assuming that the solar installer has to be onboarded in roofing as well.
Yes, there is a separate setup process, but it's absolutely allowable. If someone already installs solar and they would also like to install roofing, so long as they have the appropriate licenses and insurance for that market, for that work type, we can absolutely run them through the onboarding processing for roofing. They will sign a separate MSA, they will sign specific roof pricing, and we'll get them properly set up. Same goes for consultants that are roofers. We can get you set up so long as you have all the appropriate licenses and insurance. You will be held to the same protocols as any other roofer. So putting that out there right now, there is a process in place, and it's the same for all roofers, whether you're a consultant or not. So heads up on that.
If you could speak to the length of the process of onboarding a new roofer and maybe just 2 or 3 key requirements.
So the overall process, it really depends on the roofing office and how quick they want to get the information back to us. I've had people set up in a couple of days before a week is out if their office is really on it and responsive. We've had roofers take weeks or even months. They might not be in the office very much. They might not be very motivated to finish out the paperwork. They might get really busy and it falls to their back burner. So it really depends on the roofing office. We can do everything on our end to make that contact, have that initial phone call, send them all the documents, and from there it's on them. So it could be a few days to a week, or it could be months if they're really slow about getting back to us.
Yes.
The things we do require are the master subcontractor agreement. We send them a copy of that to review. There is a pricing template that they get to review and fill in. And then we need proof of active license. So general liability, workers' comp, and auto policy for any company vehicles. Understood, roofing doesn't necessarily have a fleet of vehicles the way electrical work does. So we've got a little leniency on that requirement, but we do want coverage for any company vehicles. We would like to see proof of OSHA certification or at least training record to make sure they're up to date and compliant. And they need to be able to agree to our pay terms and of course our procedures. So that would be the quick overview of what they need. But we do send them a whole, business development has been working with me. They send a whole list that I've set up for them. They provide a service area map. There's a whole walkthrough. And then at the end, they always have a video call with me where we'll just go through the details one final time and make sure that they understand what I expect.
Perfect. On that note, do we need roofers in certain areas that we can help you with, or?
Well, we've got pretty good coverage in California, Texas, and Florida, although we're constantly getting referrals in those markets as well. Currently, I would say most of these newer markets where we're getting out there, that's where we can always use some more help. So Idaho, Utah, Nevada, actually Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico are traditionally flaky when it comes to roofers. So we can always use additional referrals out there because those are markets where referral actually makes all the difference. They trust someone who knows someone versus the big company calling them out of the blue and asking them to take on work. They have bad experiences with other companies, which shall remain nameless, who came in and ran up a bill and left. So they're kind of, apprehensive of that sort of thing. Pennsylvania, Colorado, we can always use additional coverage in Colorado. I've got a roof in La Jara that I've been trying to find a roofer for months. So especially if you have a job that's in what I call, Nick loves my terminology, armpit places, spots that are just hard to reach, hard to get to, not a lot of coverage, a little more rural, maybe away from the metropolitan areas. If you've got a referral that's in that area, definitely send them my way because that saves us on travel adders, trip fees, and all of that. So that is a possibility. And again, we can get creative. I've got jobs like I say, in California, we can't set up one-time roofers. We're not setting up homeowner roofers. But if we've got, I think we have a couple jobs in that Clear Lake Oaks area, and I've had several people specifically want to bring on a roofer that's in that market, and anyone else we send out there is going to kill us with travel prices. So we're setting them up on an MSA full setup so that we can get them in that market. So that is something we can do, but it's not a regular habit. So just throwing it out there, we'll set them up if we need coverage there, but if we've got coverage and the homeowner's just asking, then probably not.
Got it. Those armpit places where they drink sweet tea and moonshine, huh? Okay.
Christina, this is Jarrett. I have a quick question in regards to financing. Are there any talks behind the scene with Powur about being able to come up with some type of separate financing specifically for the roofs?
Man, after my own heart, yes. So this conversation has been opened. I am campaigning for it. Our lenders do have roof-only programs available. It's just a matter on our end of getting the accurate contracts revised and roof-specific HICs and licensing information and a few things like that I'm not the most legalese person. However, it has been run by Fred and Nick Phillips. They're working on it. I've had discussions with Emily and Sally about this. So the pots are bubbling on multiple burners. Yeah,
Okay.
it's on the list and I'm pushing for it.
Yeah, because I mean, what I've experienced just when I went to go do my first one is, you know, our quote came in a little bit higher than what the homeowner had already gotten. Then there was some margin on it. And then there's a huge dealer fee on it, right? When I added it into the financing. And so I tried to present it to the homeowner and it was, you know, close to 30 grand, including all the addition to what the solar quote was. And they're like, we had a quote for like $18,000 from this other company. Like, that's too big of, like, what's going on here?
Right.
And then that opened up the can of worms. I had to explain, well, the financing, and now they're like, well, does the solar have that type of financing chart? And I was like, how do I circle around and navigate this? So if there was like, you know, just some pure roofing lending options, that would be great. Also, it would help out because if you have a smaller size system, that PPW gets way up too high, crushes. You can't even do financing it altogether. So that's good to hear that you guys, that's already you know.
Just you know, I did bring it up to Jonathan Budd on Wednesday. I actually asked this question specifically. So
yay, more pressure.
It's on the list. It's not high, but it is on the list.
Excellent.
I got 2 more questions. We got a last few minute updates and then we'll do a little more Q&A. So someone asked if there is a second layer of roof that gets put down. Do you know if Solar Insure still guarantees the 30-year warranty?
If there's a comp overlay,
we can email Solar Insure to check.
Yeah, I would definitely want to confirm that before I stick my foot in my mouth. Let me write this down here.
Yeah, we can check with Dean from Solar Insure.
Yeah.
And then Gloria is asking, do any of our lenders require roof work costs to be line itemized on any finance documents? Not to my knowledge.
Not to my knowledge either. So far I know Sonova Jobs, the limitations we have on roof work other than, you know, loan caps and that sort of thing would be that they don't like roof waivers. The roof either has to qualify as is or roof work has to happen. We can't put a waiver on Sonova Jobs. That's the main note that I have for that. I don't have any feedback on additionally itemized bills per lender request. We have gotten homeowner requests for, you know, a little more built out scope of work or branding guarantees, that sort of thing, which are, that's feedback I've received. And I'm working with Solo to come up with a way to offer more details without committing ourselves and setting improper expectations. Because again, we don't own the vendor relationship, so we can't say, we offer all certainty or whatever. It kind of depends on what the roofer and that market has available.
Right. All right. Very good. Well, I have a last few important updates, Christina, and then we'll hang out if you have another minute.
Sure. I'll stop the share and I'll mute myself and all righty, go ahead.
Beautiful. A huge thank you again on behalf of the team. Everyone loves, supports you. You are truly a badass, like I said, and we really appreciate you taking this rocket ship forward, as especially all as vision holders and shareholders here now with Powur. And feel free to type any more questions in the chat. I just have a few updates for us. All roofing documents, as I put in the chat, like Christina mentioned, I'll go ahead and put in here again. And there is a new slide deck, a homeowner presentation slide deck, as well as a video Why Powur. So it's in Powur University. Just Google Masterclass. There's a new homeowner slide deck. It looks awesome. And there's a new video that you can use as well. Hopefully you can see my screen here. All right. This is a new image that I have. I'd love everyone to go ahead and blast it all over social media. It's really the push to get people to sign by October 1st. If they're going to get a tax credit and get installed solar by 2021, the end of 2021, they really need to sign up by October 1st, guys. So huge push this month to get the solar, signed by 10/1. Feel free to use this graphic and flyer. And it does say a $500 homeowner rebate. So make sure to add that into the adders as a homeowner rebate as well. So if I were you, like always, I put that all over Instagram, LinkedIn, social media, Facebook, MySpace, TikTok, put it everywhere. Sales contest, hopefully in the next week and a half, we're going to get to know the winners and the updates. Chris Brunasso, JC Rengel, kicking major butt here. Hats off to everybody, Cynthia Alvidrez, David, Wally, Keenan from Texas here, Lorenzo on the team, Ubaldo on the team. I mean, there's so many people, Luis Perez, Owen Carey. Man, there's just too many people to mention. So Powur Hitters, this team is really kicking butt here. It's amazing to see everyone. And we're going to do a special announcement to announce the winners for this. As always, there is new ambassador materials here. I'll go ahead and put in the chat. Again, also in Powur University, lots of great videos and content for us to share, including the Inc. 61 content as well. So if you need something to do, feel free to share that stuff. There is a new Powur Explained in 15 Minutes that I went ahead and recorded. I highly recommend watching it. Getting a lot of good feedback on it. It's a short and sweet 15-minute video to get someone really interested to join, whether it's a realtor, a roofer, solar pro, a work from home person. You can go to solarmodelexplained.com. Really short and sweet 15-minute video there. We have a few future events and trainings. Today at 12 p.m. Pacific on Powur calendar, there's a consultant training. And then this Thursday, September 9th here, I'll be on one of these. There is a new consultant onboarding training. We have a new gentleman running that. I had the pleasure of meeting him last week, and these are awesome. So put it on your calendar, new onboarding this Thursday, 12 p.m. Pacific or 5 p.m. Pacific. If you're newer, definitely attend that. This Friday, Q&A with Bobby Smith at 11 a.m. I'll probably be hanging out with him because Charles Thompson, congrats to him and Evangeline. He's getting married live from corporate headquarters September 11th, and you all can join via Zoom. Take a look at his Facebook for that. And then next week on September 14th, Tuesday, we're hoping to do a special training. Cynthia Alvidrez is leading this, but we're going to get a top mentor in Florida, like Michael, a top mentor in California and Texas, and maybe North Carolina, and they're going to tell us, maybe Robert Hollis in Arizona, and they're literally going to have 2 or 3 slides on the utilities and that state and incentives. So we're going to make an awesome training next Tuesday, going over the different states and utilities and tips and tricks as well. But all events and trainings and more are on powurcalendar.com. Lastly here, I'd like to focus on the end of the year, if you so choose, for Give Powur with Aparna. The recommended, if you want, is $40 per installation. And there is a number of slides that you can incorporate into your homeowner presentation. And the team has already raised, I think, almost $5,000. So we continue to give back with Prosperity Homes in Mexico and Give Powur here. So I would highly encourage you to just add this slide to your slide deck, talk about it. I know others of you have other charities and nonprofits that you support, but I really do want to focus on the Give Powur here till the end of the year. Well, that is all we have for today. Lots more trainings coming up. We have a really busy September ahead of us with the announcements of the winners. I'm super glad that you all took the time to watch this training, and we're going to just do some final Q&A. Huge shout out again to Christina. You are awesome. We really appreciate you and all you do for Powur, leading the way. So thank you so very much. All right.